all distinguished luminaries on the stage, spiritual leaders, intellectuals, medical practitioners, Vice Chancellor of Central Sanskrit University, Salasar campus, members of the faculty of the university, students. It's a great honor for me to be invited to this very, very august gathering of distinguished scholars, spiritual leaders, practitioners of spirituality, students, intellectuals, on this very important subject of consciousness. Actually, consciousness lives with us, as we all know, and practically people who are from the medical profession would know it day in and day out, how consciousness affects us all. I would like to begin my talk with paying gratitude to the founder of the Art of Bliss organization, Dr. Prasanna Mahapatra, not only for his organizational skills, but his utter humility and his utter groundedness while doing such human service for mankind, if I may put that. We just saw on the screen Dr. Ravi Kumar's invitation to the Art of Bliss to attend an international conference on consciousness in the coming year. I would like to wish all participants here today a very happy, prosperous, healthy, and glorious New Year. When Prasanna Babu and my good friend Dr. Devadas invited me to take part in this series of proceedings on consciousness, I had to, in the first hand, apologize for not being able to be present in any of their daily sessions. I think it lasted for a week or so. However, as I was out of town during those time, but since I was present in Puri today, I thought I will definitely come and not only meet him and greet him, but also say a few words on this very important subject. Today I want to talk to you about a person, about a unique personality who had appeared on the Indian horizon in the late 19th and early 20th century. A person who is synonymous with the independence of India on the 15th of August. We celebrate the independence of India with fanfare and a lot of activities, a lot of hoisting of national flags, and I do hoist national flag in my own library at my residence. But this unique personality is hardly talked about, hardly known. Aurobindo Ackroyd Ghosh, who later was Christian as Sri Aurobindo, who was born on the 15th of August, 1872, who lived a life of 78 years and passed his mortal body on the 5th of December, 1950. Those of you who have been to Pondicherry, or now called Puducherry, and would have visited his ashram, would have entered the room where he lived for 40 years of his life, partly giving talks, writing prodigiously, but most of the time in silence and seclusion, while he was formulating his ideas, his most brilliant ideas. So much so that our philosopher president, Dr. Radhakrishnan, called him the foremost intellectual of our age, Sri Aurobindo. He got many other expletives in his lifetime. Romain Rolland, the famous French philosopher and Indologist, called him the complete synthesis of the values of the East and the West. And Rabindranath Tagore, who met him only once visiting his ashram in the year 1930, called him representative of India's voice to the world. He was centered in Pondicherry during his period of spiritual awakening, but his voice, his thoughts have traveled all over the world, to all parts of the world, to all corners of the world. I am greatly impressed. Of course, many spiritual leaders we have encountered in our lifetimes, some present and practicing, some who have passed away into the pages of history. But a personality like Sri Aurobindo rarely comes. When we speak of consciousness, there are many definitions of consciousness. There are many perspectives of consciousness. But Sri Aurobindo gave us the concept of supramental consciousness, where he advocated what he called the supramind or the superman, and he called the evolution of man to superman is destined for humanity, is inevitable, that man transforms himself into superman. Of course, the concept of superman also comes from a French, German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, who had also used this term superman, though it was not in a very good sense, and this was borrowed idea by the likes of Hitler and Mussolini to paint Superman in a different picture. Sri Aurobindo hated that. His Superman is a man who is filled with supramental consciousness, and his Superman, what we now see in the age of technology, has turned into a meta-human. You know, all those people who are abreast with technology, with cybernetics, with robotics, with artificial intelligence would know what I am talking about. The idea of the meta-human. Where the meta-human would play a larger role and perhaps more intelligent role than a human in the years and the decades to come. We still don't know the expanse of the Superman or the meta-human in the future world. But many of you who are young today would grow up in this hugely interdependent, globalized, digitized world would realize what I am talking about. Sri Aurobindo was a spiritual revolutionary, as we put him. Why? Because he started his political career as a revolutionary. He joined the Indian freedom movement. However, he chose to go the extremist way. Perhaps some of you would know about this trio called Lal Bal Pal. Yeah. He joined the Pal section, Bipin Chandra Pal section of the extremist grouping. And after his return to India from his higher studies in UK, he chose to join the extremist group and called perhaps the first person in the India's freedom struggle to call for Purna Swaraj very early in the 20th century, much before Purna Swaraj as a concept had evolved in the Congress's thinking. But he was a part of the Congress. In the Surat Congress in 1907, he engineered a split between the moderate group and the extremist group. He was fought for an extremist act in the year 1908, what is famously known as the Alipore bombing case. He was jailed for 1 year in Alipore jail in Kolkata. He was released from prison a year later in 1909. For some time, nearly a year, he spent in a French enclave in Chandranagar, and then in 1910 he came to Pondicherry, which was also a French enclave at the time. From 1910 till 1950, till his passing away, he lived in Pondicherry. 40 years of sadhana, 40 years of glorious talks, meditations, writings, which have completely, I would say, spiritualized humanity, because his motive was the complete spiritualization of humanity. On the 15th August, when India got independence, we call it the beginning of the process of decolonization in the world. India gave a mission to the world of being the first country to be freed from the colonial yoke. And thereafter, many countries of Asia, Africa, South America followed suit and chose the path of decolonization. 15th August was the birthday also of this great man, Sri Aurobindo. And I would put it that his birth also heralded the decolonization of the human mind. He uplifted the mind to a status of the supra-mind. And that he did in a very, very intricate way. Not many people will be able to understand the process in which he passed on from mind to the supra-mind through this concept, his own concept of supramental consciousness, which is an integral part through the integral yoga which he propounded of consciousness. However, he completely believed in the theory of evolution. And he said that man is not a finished product. Man is not a finished entity. Man is constantly in the process of evolution. The concept of evolution, many other spiritual leaders have also developed in the thoughts. The most prominent being Swami Vivekananda, who could be one of his most illustrious contemporaries, where Swami Vivekananda calls is an evolution from lesser degree of divinity to higher degrees of divinity. Man is imbued with divinity, man is born divine. But he moves, he evolves into higher stages of divinity as he grows in life. Similarly, Sri Aurobindo also gave his theory of evolution as the way of progress of humanity. His Savitri, one of his most monumental works, many of you would have heard about it, Savitri, of course, comes from the Hindu scriptures of a wife who tries to save her husband Satyavan from the clutches of death, from Yama, who comes to fetch her husband who has passed his body, and Aurobindo's 36,000 verse poetry, sheer lyrical poetry describing Savitri as Shakti and Satyavan as nature. That it denotes the complete dominance of Shakti over our lives. When he brings the being and becoming, being as Shiva and becoming as Shakti. When he brings existence, or what we call cosmic existence, in communion with the forces of nature, from there springs life. And life evolves through various stages of growth, progress, development. And he calls them the 7 stages of development. How from the base level to the highest level of development. The base level, of course, comprises of mind, matter, life, basic life, and then goes up to the highest level of unity, of love, of compassion, what he calls the age of Satchitananda. Satchitananda. Through these stages of evolution and this gnomic consciousness, man can become Superman, and every person has the potential. Here, please don't misunderstand me. I am not speaking man in a misogynist way. Man is a generic term. What I mean here is a human. It's a human being. Has the to develop its fullest potential and become a superhuman. Sri Aurobindo has left us with this idea of how to divinize humanity, how to spiritualize humanity. And when India got independence, he gave his message, his radio message, that today a new age has come, a new power has been born. And this power has the untold possibility of bringing about rapid changes in every realm of life for all over the world, for all countries in the world. So I conclude by saying that to fathom Sri Aurobindo's thoughts and particularly his concepts of supramental consciousness is a task which every human being ought to take, ought to endeavor, ought to practice in his daily life. And I once again thank Dr. Prasanna Mahapatra for inviting me to this very important and august gathering on consciousness. We live consciousness. Without consciousness, we are dead. So I thank you all for giving me patient hearing. And I wish all success to the Art of Bliss organization in the future. Thank you very much.